It's a huge week when it comes to our nation's economy. On Wednesday, new President Trump imposed tariffs on imported goods will go into effect. 2 days later, Friday, lawmakers in D.C. face that deadline to avert a potential government shutdown yet again. Thanks for joining us on Jana Shortle on this Monday night. All of this is coming as economists warn of a potential recession on the horizon. Cuts in government jobs and continued rising costs are just hammering us. And in the last 24 hours, President Trump says he's not ruling out this possibility of a recession. Here's Gordon Severson.
Whenever there is economic uncertainty, people love to throw around the R word. But are we headed for a recession? According to several experts and data points, the answer is maybe.
Right now, it's not a five-alarm fire.
University of St. Thomas economics professor Tyler Schipper says there is some reason to be worried. The proposed tariffs and recent changes coming out of Washington are causing a lot of uncertainty. And if there's one thing companies and the stock market don't like, it's uncertainty.
There is some recognition within the White House right now that some of the policies they're doing, at least in the short run, could have negative effects on growth.
That's why some top economists have recently increased their odds that a recession will happen in the next 12 months. At Goldman Sachs, they recently raised the odds from a 15% chance to a 20% chance. At Yardeni Research, they recently went up from 20% to 35%.
I think those are both fair. I think that there is an increased chance of a recession this year. So maybe going into this year, mine was at 10 to 15. And it's probably jumped up to 20 to 25. I think those are in the right range.
But what do consumers think? According to the Consumer Sentiment Index from the University of Michigan, consumers are starting to get worried. But they were even more worried 3 years ago when inflation was near its peak, and we did not hit a recession then. Jerome Powell, who leads the Federal Reserve, said last Friday, quote, "Despite elevated levels of uncertainty, the U.S. economy continues to be in a good place." The U.S. Commerce Secretary agrees.
Should Americans brace for a recession?
Absolutely not. There's going to be no recession in America.
So again, the big question, are we headed for a recession? Well, some economists say we have a higher chance now than we did a few months ago, but at this point they say it's more likely that it won't happen. Gordon Severson, KARE 11 News.
Well, it was certainly a day that people were fearing that because they saw what happened on the stock market. Just an absolute nightmare on Wall Street, as we alluded to before. So lots going on with our economy that we've got to keep track of on this show for you.